Body image. Our bodies are a vehicle for spiritual growth and healing. Through my coursework, I've come to understand that the body is a learning device for us to reconnect to our true essence, which is love. In our bodies, we can go through a lot of funky assignments to ultimately return to our spiritual faith in love. A Course in Miracles teach us to use our body to show up for these assignments and learn spiritual lessons. This process can be difficult at times, but it allows us to recognize that we are here in our body to transcend our fear of the world and communicate the lessons of love. The ego cannot comprehend the concept of the body as a learning device. The ego has convinced that our body is who we are. We have identified with our ego perception of being fat, tall, short, black, white, sick, and so on. The ego compares the body to other bodies. The ego wants us to use the body to get more from the world, whether it is sex, money, or success. Worst of all, the ego convinces us to be afraid of the body. I can safely say that most of us, at some point in time, have had a negative relationship to our body. Experiencing our body through our ego's eyes will always kick up feelings of inadequacy and separateness. When all these thoughts from our ego, we experience low-level thoughts, which negatively affect our body's energy field. If we constantly attacking ourselves with nasty thoughts, the energy behind those thoughts seeps into our body, and that low-level energy is powerful, whether we realize it or not. In its worst form, this negative energy can manifest as illness, which in turn reinforces fear. When we carry around resentments, self-hatred, and judgment, we attack our bodies with low-level thoughts and energy. The fear we carry is like a virus in our minds, and eventually the virus can take over our bodies. As we begin to understand how our energy affects our bodies, we will come to see how spiritual healing will greatly support physical healing. From the Course's perspective here, each time we perceive our body with judgment or attacked by comparing it to other bodies, we are separating ourselves from our truthful state, love. And each time we separate from love, we feel like crap. We think we feel bad because our body is not good enough, or because the world told us we were fat, ugly, poor, and so on. But the real reason we feel so terrible is because we are separate from love. The disassociation from love makes us feel an unconscious guilt. We experience this guilt because deep down we know that ultimately we are responsible for disconnecting from our loving truth. A Course in Miracles describes this guilt as thoughts we have disassociated with love, aka God. And in essence, we have killed our connection to love. This ignites the ego's unconscious guilt, even though the guilt exists below our level of unconsciousness. We feel its pain and want to numb it. The ego works hard to manifest us this feeling of guilt by hooking us into fearful patterns, from overeating embody the dysmorphia to substance abuse, unhealthy sexual behavior, and so on. Why? These behaviors strengthen the ego's spinal and keep us locked into fear. Think about your own behavior. When you feel uncomfortable, it's likely you turn to fearful thoughts, actions, and behavior to avoid feeling the discomfort. This is the ego's nasty trick of denial. When we deny our feeling of guilt, we go deeper into the fear and heighten our faith in the ego. Fear is a hungry, bottomless pit. For the ego to stay alive, fear must be fed. This is where our abuse of the body becomes unconsciousness and addictive. Whether we are abusing our bodies through our thoughts, actions, or beliefs, we are reinforcing fear one moment at a time to keep the ego satisfied and full. When you start to pay attention to how your thoughts affect your body, you become more conscious of what you think. Whether you're an overeater, a heavy drinker, or a drug abuser, or you have a different issue, you'll come to know a new freedom. When you change your mind about your body changes. In fact, not only does your body change, but the purpose of the body shifts as well. Once you begin to see your body as love, you learn how to use it as a communication device for sharing that love. The miracle mind perspective on physical healing is much different from what we have been taught to believe in. The miracle mindset does not aim to deny physical illness. It does, however, aim to establish a new way of perceiving the condition. The key principle to experiencing a miracle mind perspective of the body is to welcome your inner guide, such as angels, to invite them for the healing. This practice requires that the mind be healed in order to support the healing of the body. Remember that fear in our mind creates illness in our body. Therefore, a mental cleanse is required to aid in the process of physical healing. When you apply the thought system that your mind can aid in healing your body, you can experience many miracles. It's not that the physical condition just disappears, though it often does, but that you are guided to exactly who and what you need for healing to take place. When you welcome healing miracles, you will see how Spirit works through people to aid in your recovery. The Course emphasizes that a miracle is a shift from the body identification to spirit identification. When you surrender your thoughts to the care of your inner guides. Spirit removes the limitation of the body and awakes your awareness of miracles.